like and subscribe. How intense is the desire for a man when he gets horny? IDK I'm even asking this question the way I mean to. But as a woman I often wonder how strong that feeling is for a man. It makes us stupid. Not as bad as heroin, but more than food. I'd say it can be pretty intense. It can consume the mind and be all that I think about. It's described as a hunger for a reason. You can get a little peckish throughout the day and it's generally a little distracting, but not a big issue. However, the longer you go without satisfying that need, the worse it gets. Imagine you're hungry, but only slightly. You say oh just ignore it. You can ignore it, but over time you just need to eat to stop that sensation. I personally don't like being horny. Depends on how long the dry spell. Also depends on situational horniness. Like if we are making out, pants off, touching horny, it is quite intense. For me it is a constant low level buzz, but if it goes on too long without release then I become basically non-functioning. Cannot focus on anything but sex, irritable, a little frantic. I have to have an orgasm to take the edge off. For me it's two levels. It's either the general arousal or the primal intoxication. The general arousal is when you see a cute girl and maybe notice her body and you're kinda interested but nothing really comes of it, and life goes on. The primal intoxication however is when you're in that moment. When she's in your arms and it's as if all of your senses come alive. The whirlwind of scents from her hair, lotions, perfumes, just filling the air, seeing every bit of her face, caressing her skin, kissing her lips, hearing her reaction. In that moment for me, the whole world just fades away in this haze, and I'm just intoxicated in a way I never felt, and can never get tired of. In that moment I can feel my heart pounding so hard it feel like it's going to pop out of my chest and the blood racing through my veins, like I'm trembling from the ultimate sugar high. Where I don't care about anything else in this moment but her, and where I don't want to be a civilized person, I just want to give in to that feeling, and just get lost in that desire, and not stop until we are both done. Edit. Wow. I did not think this post would resonate with so many of you. Thank you for not making me feel like I was weird or something. Not ever intense enough for the I just couldn't control myself excuse to be a valid one. The little head is in control of the big head, and the central nervous system. It all depends on the individual, and the testosterone hormones. Some people have zero little desire and others bleed from their nose just by thinking about some. You cannot focus on anything else until something is done about it. Also, the hornier you get, the lower your asterisk IQ. Asterisk drops. As intense as to turn a 2 into an 8. And then very quickly back down to a 2. Big brain to monk brain in. 5-second flat. A lot of comments here are comparing horniness to hunger, but I think it's more like the need to take a. When you've had a fairly recently, there will be a period where not only do you not need to take another, but even if you were to go and sit on the toilet nothing is going to happen. Some time goes by, and you start feel like you could probably take one, but there's nothing forcing you to go and take one right this second. It's not urgent at first, but the sensation builds and builds, until it's all you can think about. You start looking for a bathroom, *ANY bathroom. You can't focus on work, on conversations, on the TV, nothing. The need to find a place to becomes all consuming. Finally you find a bathroom, and it doesn't matter how filthy it is, all that matters is that it has running water and a TP dispenser that isn't quite empty. Post-nut clarity exists, merely because of how debilitating excess horniness can be. Booty more important than what? It depends on your level of self-control. If you're not very able to control yourself, it's a raw, primal need. Very difficult to control. If you are able to control yourself fairly well, it's still a need, but you're able to bury it when it's inconvenient. It might be awkward, but you can. And for those with ridiculously high self-control, it's something you can ignore if you don't think it's a good time. You're probably not even awkward about it. Yeah, blokes will throw millions of dollars away in a divorce settlement to put their penis inside the secretary. For unstimulated horniness, comparing it to hunger, I would say that, for a teenager, it was like fasting all day and walking past a pizzeria with the smell driving you crazy. It was worse than going 6 hours without a cigarette when I was a smoker. Couldn't think about anything else in class in high school. My penis was often erect in my jeans, and my shorts often got a little stained from pre-cum. Now, as a middle-aged man, it's more like I ate 4 hours ago, and I catch the smell of fresh bread from a bakery. I'm hungry and I certainly would like to eat right then, but it's not impossible to focus. Still, my mind comes back to it every time I notice something remotely stimulating. For stimulated horniness, from physical stimulus, or prolonged visual stimulus, it can really impair judgment. No condom? No problem. The man who said it turns a 2 into an 8 was only slightly hyperbolizing. There is no way to think about anything else until that need is addressed. On one memorable occasion, I was spending the night at a GF's house. We watched movies and made out. It was great. She wasn't interested in anything else that night, but I was never going to get to sleep or do anything else until I orgasmed. So I had to go home to take care of that, even though I really liked sharing her bed. I regret it, even now. After prolonged, active sexual stimulus with no release, blue balls are quite real. The testes do get exquisitely tender, even to light touch. The radiating abdominal pains are, I think, equivalent to medium to high level menstrual cramps, or being constipated for several days. Not as bad as PID or appendicitis. But by the time this happens, there's just the discomfort, not as much actual sexual desire, except that an orgasm is the only way to fix it. But achieving one at that point can be really hard. It hurts pretty bad. Makes you think and act irrationally. If you try to just ignore it, your thoughts and actions will get affected more and more to S point, where you have to do something about it, or you start getting aggressive and weird. You know the doomsday clock. It is like a tiny version of that. But penis. Am I the only guy that masturbates before dates, so I can think more clearly? As a woman, finding out guys do this is mind-boggling. I could literally never imagine having that be an issue I would worry about. Even if the guy's really hot, I actually prefer to save up lol. Thank you for all of your replies. My so and I have a very healthy sex life, and he makes his needs known. And then proceeds to ask me how he can help around the house and or offers to take over bedtime for our 2 kids that evening. I take it for what it is, and I personally think it is flattering, and appreciate the enthusiastic help. But that also makes me think, Heather's really putting in the work every way he can to make sure he gets it, so that has got to be a hell of an urge lol. I think for a lot of men it goes beyond just physical satisfaction. It can be a source of validation or intimacy. There's a reason they call desperate people thirsty. Honestly, to me most cravings are analogous to being thirsty, but the only thing that quenches it is whatever you are craving. It's on the front of your minds 96% of the time, until you deal with it, just like water is when you're thirsty. That's my experience, at least I'm sure it differs. If it could be properly conveyed to women, I think it would be the end of the world, because women would realize how easily manipulated we are. Joe Rogan said it perfectly. When you're horny, it is like you're at the back of a bus and your driver is a complete lunatic driving fast with the windows down and the music blasting, but as soon as you come *POOF**, you're now in the driver's seat and everything is calm and under control, and you have no idea WTF just happened. It's just an ever-present thing that most of us learn to deal with. Attractive women were insanely distracting, when I was young. I've learned to control it, as I assume most guys learn to do as well. Some never do. It's obvious who they are when you meet them. You ever see a woman drop her standards and go home with someone she would never talk to in the darn oily vertical bar? Did nerd think so? This is actually another big difference between males/females that led me to ask this question. I feel like an animal. It depends on a lot of factors, but even when I've been at my most chill, the moment I looked up and saw a woman bend over in a pair of tight jeans, I switched to an immediate need to be right behind her. I didn't, of course, but it was so sudden and intense that it surprised me, but I shook my head clear and went about my way. Physical horny? Not that much. Heart horny? Almost unstoppable. Enough for the rational part of your brain to switch off, and the animal part to take over. It is not all fun and games having testosterone. I mean, honestly, I'm married. I get horny AF. I ask my wife if she wants some fuck, maybe lay some moves down. If she says no, the horniness just kinda goes away. I don't get mad, I don't go raping, I just say alright love, and take a melatonin, and go to bed. But she says yes more often than not. It feels like my body is somewhat electrified, and it only gets worse if I look at an attractive woman. In terms of thoughts, it can be all-consuming at times, but usually passes after a while. Having my wife ask me to slow down at times like this puts me in a difficult place. It's absurd how intense it can be. You could go as far as saying entire religions were founded to ensure men got whatever they wanted from women. It is like wanting a cigarette when you try and quit. But it is not that bad as to go raping people or any of that. I see rapists use that as a defense all the time and my blood boils. Yes, it is uncomfortable and itchy, but it certainly does not excuse that sort of like some people try to play as an excuse. Can be very intense. Blood only flows one way, so we utterly end up pretty stupid/dumb. I'd the crack of dawn if I could. How many women would do that? I don't know if this is the sub to put this on, but I'm a transmasc person who was a fab and now takes testosterone. I had to basically go through puberty second the reckoning when I started. Testosterone horny is way different than estrogen horny. Estrogen horny is easily put off in comparison. In most cases you can just kind of wait it out if you need to, and it doesn't really get in the way. Testosterone horny is an obstacle. Very similar to what other people are saying, you can ignore it for a while, but eventually a solution has to be dealt with. I genuinely didn't think it would be that different, but I was not equipped to handle it, because my brain has never devoted that much time and energy to being horny before, but now it's like ever present. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.